Welcome to Truck You Podcast. My name is Sebastian.
Jose, guys.
How are you today?
Pretty good.
Good. Today we're going to talk about overhauling an engine, right?
Yeah.
Should you do it? Should you overhaul it? And
What to expect.
what to expect when overhauling an engine, and also
reasons to overhaul.
Reasons to overhaul, yes. And we've been doing a couple overhauls at the shop, and we started talking the other day. I'm like, hey, let's just shoot an episode around that, because I feel like we could create some value by maybe talking about some of the steps or reasons, because every time we have a conversation with the customer, I have should I overhaul the engine? It's like, okay, here's why you should consider not, or here's why you should consider overhauling it. Let's just record it when we talk about it. So shop update, other than the International being in, the episode dropped already, how we're pulling it in. The next one, what I want to do is you going over it. We're going to go over it together. And
walk through around
the
so 4300.
Okay. We'll shoot that and kind of plan for what we're going to do. But we had the injector problem and the harness problem on that International. Yeah, so that was fixed by just finding the harness was pretty bad on that.
Yeah.
And
it has low miles. It has 250, I believe.
Yeah, but it's an old truck.
It's an old truck. Yeah, it's 09.
Yeah. Okay. Should I overhaul an engine? So you want to
overhaul versus engine swap.
Mm-hmm.
If I were to do an engine swap, I would find an engine with at least no more than 500k on it. This way, obviously,
that makes sense.
You're gonna get more.
You sell life in it. But what about? Would you do that with any engine? That's a tricky question. But
that is a tricky question. I mean, obviously, if you're getting an ISX, check the main rods and throw a new oil pump on there. You should be good. Well, I would go with that. Should be with any engine getting swapped out at 500.
You're doing 500 is I
new
agree.
oil pump and main and rod bearings, and this way you're preventing any rod going out of the block, or
That makes sense. Yeah, I see that.
Well, especially if you're getting swapped, you want to check the guy could be saying, okay, the truck has 500,000. Let's just take a look at the main rod just to see what the bearings look like, what the crank looks like, any scoring on there or anything.
Yeah, I agree. I think I wouldn't do it with every engine. I think some of the engines are just not worth
it. Like DD15 in your opinion? They tend to have low oil pressure, and that's usually, like, we had a couple of them with bad pickup tubes, O-rings being messed up on them.
I was thinking more about a Max Force.
Oh, yeah, Max Force. There's a reason why the trucks sell really cheap with that engine. But
at the same time, the DD15, I'm not too familiar with that. You could speak more to the DD15. I think swapping an engine, you would have to still look at the other components to make sure is it still worth it, right? And in the newer trucks, it's the emissions that are expensive, and how much is gonna swap cost you, right?
Yeah.
So let's go there maybe for a second. How much do you think a swap of a Cummins ISX? Let's go there. I have an idea, but because we did a swap some time ago, but we've been overhauling that one, the one we have in the shop. So what's your take on
roughly how much it's gonna cost?
Mm-hmm.
You can probably get a used engine for 7,000 to 8,000. I want to say, and the swap on the labor, it's going to be like 45.
Yeah,
4,500. So you're looking at what, 15, 16?
Swapping, and you're getting a 500,000 mile engine.
If that, I mean.
So why not just overhaul it?
Overhaul it.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd rather go with an overhaul.
I would rather also go with an overhaul.
Because this way you know that all the components, at least as far as cylinder liners, pistons, rings, bearings, are brand new.
Yeah, and you would have to be very lucky to know what you're really buying, right?
Yeah.
Because you can save money by buying an engine or a wrecked truck at an auction, but do you really know what the engine,
what's going on inside the engine?
Yeah, that's another risk, spending a lot of money, and then you're unless. So here's the thing: what I did before, I swapped an ISX from one to another, but I had them from.
But they were both your trucks.
They were both my trucks, and I've had them for a while, so I knew everything
that makes
about
sense.
them. Yeah. So that's why buying just any engine is definitely.
That's a big risk. It's a 50-50.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. What else do you got over there?
Reasons to overhaul. So it would be one, you're going to be having oil consumption, loss of power, low compression, or you can have also it's going to be a low fuel economy. You're going to get some coolant in the oil. What else? That's pretty much.
Yeah.
Or you're going to blow by. Like that 14 liter. I don't know if you.
That's what I was just gonna tell you that
excessive blow by on that one.
Yeah, but that's been so that truck is 05.
Yeah, 05.
I feel like that's been and it's a Detroit 14 liter. He's been using it for a while like that.
Yeah,
that's why it got so bad.
Well, actually, he told me that the truck was parked for a couple months, and then he started working it, and it just started eating up oil all of a sudden.
Interesting.
And it's just been increasing every day. Every day, the oil consumption is going up a lot.
Maybe he had a faulty injector, and then it just. Do you know where I'm going with it? How? I mean, I obviously I don't know what he did with the truck, but maybe he started diluting oil.
That's possible.
But I'm guessing right now it's a
guessing
game.
But he did tell me that he had some emission stuff going on.
Okay.
Yeah. And he said that the consumption started after that.
Okay. Well, then that's another thing. Why is it worth overhauling a truck, and what truck is not worth overhauling? That's my question.
What truck is not worth it?
I would make that judgment. That would make that decision pretty quickly. But what do you think?
Oh, I'd overhaul D13 any day.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting. Even the 09s, 010s, 2010s.
Yeah.
We had a viewer actually ask about intermodal container work in the East Coast. He likes Volvos, and I told him to stay away from 09, 010s, the early ones, especially D13s. I've had really bad experience.
But think about it like this. I mean, why is it that you wouldn't, or why would you stay away from them? I mean, because of the whole injector cup failure?
No. Not even about that. That's one thing, but
also
it's already an old truck.
The after treatment, right? You're thinking about SCR?
Yeah.
It's already old, and
Yes, you have to know when it was swapped, and was it swapped to make sense to rebuild it, because if you're at the end of its life, you're gonna have additional 7,000.
7,000, yeah. Besides the overhaul.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yes, I wouldn't overhaul it, because I would look at the truck overall and look at what was done to it. Like, we have a lot of D12s which we put money in, and to be honest with you, I don't think I would overhaul the D12s as well, just because I think not only they've been at it and at end of its life, the overhaul is expensive. It's a lot cheaper to overhaul a Detroit than a Volvo, right? And you get why do you think, and why do you think Volvos are better?
That's a question for you, because you're the Volvo guy.
No, but you said you would overhaul. I am a Volvo guy, but you seem to be also into Volvos. So just I have a video on the channel that talks about why I like Volvo trucks. I think it's just better quality. build quality and they hold up. And I like the D12s, but the D13s, why? Do you think it's a good engine?
It's a good engine. Yeah.
Versus what? When you look at when you
obviously that versus a Max Force,
that
versus a Max Force all day any day. Yeah.
I don't think Max Force should be even considered.
What else can we compare it to? Packard. I don't really have too much.
Compare it to DD13. I mean, just go 1-to-1, right?
Okay. Yeah, the overhaul kit price is a lot cheaper on the D13 compared to a DD13 or DD15.
Mm-hmm.
I believe the overhaul kits for those are like easily 10, 11,000.
Mm-hmm. But it's comparing, engine to engine. So look, I'm trying to be as objective here as possible, and I would also want to understand a little bit like more about. I don't have a lot of experience with D13s just because as a shop we haven't worked on a lot of them, and I haven't owned one, but they seem to do okay.
Yeah,
right.
The only downside is the one box. Remember?
That's true, but that's the case with the D15s as well. When I'm looking at an engine and I determine whether it's a good engine or not is like how much life I can get out of it without putting a lot of work and parts into it. Right. Well, that's why I like the D12s. You get a lot of value out of an engine, disregarding emissions, because it's not even about. Yes, it's important when you make those decisions on you have to take it into a factor, but like what is a good engine? Like to me, one of my favorite engines is the 5-cylinder Mercedes did for their old diesel engine
on their cars, right?
Yeah, that runs forever, right? It's a simple engine. And they used to build them in the 80s with the W123 chassis, and I'm not going to get into that, but they were designed for a very long life cycle, and that's what I think the D12 was also designed for.
D12s, you've seen this too. They start up no problem in the winter.
Yeah.
Compared to the 12.7s,
but D13s as well.
Yeah,
I don't think D13s any Volvos don't have any problems with but yeah.
ISX is a little bit harder to start up.
Yeah. But can you give me your take on it? Why?
On why?
Mm-hmm. That's fine. We don't have to go there. We should probably do a separate video or around that. I think it'll be interesting. Now it's obviously we're going into spring.
Yeah, we won't.
But let's do that for some other time. I would say, going back to overhauling, the cost is the number one thing, and when you look at overhaul, it's like, okay, what should you expect? Like you come into a shop and you have an independent shop doing overhaul, or do you go to a dealership? What's the difference? How do you
independent
make
shops usually like 100,000 miles or a 1-year warranty.
Mm-hmm. And what would you expect, or what kind of questions would you like to ask an independent shop when you're deciding to do an overhaul with an independent shop?
Do you guys check liner height? Which that's we've seen a lot of counterbores. We've been doing a couple of them, and that's also something to consider. Like also put into consideration. Like expect to do counterbores. That's another $1,500 right there, and that's not included in the overhaul.
Yeah,
guys will tell you, okay, well you're trying to make $1,500 off me.
Yeah, that's right. And the I think I come from a standpoint where I would like to inform. That's why we're doing this as well. The customer of everything possibly that we're going to do or that might go wrong, because the miscommunication between that is where things starting to get. Oh, you're trying to screw me, yeah. Right? If you keep that, so the difference between when you go to a dealership versus an independent shop should be the rate per hour, the labor hour. Yeah. Right.
That and also I have buddies that have overhauled their engines at dealerships, and then they'll come out of the dealership with $25,000 bill, but water pump was replaced because they can't give a warranty. Water pump, air compressor, oil pump without a doubt.
True.
A lot of new injectors, new turbo, everything, or else the dealer will void the warranty.
Yeah, but think about it. That makes sense, because if you want to stand behind your work, you have to do it the right way.
Yeah.
And the difference between an independent shop and a dealership is the rate per hour.
Yeah.
Think about it. If you have a shop rebuilding it at a 90 or 100 versus 150, that's a significant difference over 50 hours.
Yeah.
Right. So the question is, what should I expect, and why should I, overhauling an engine, think about, do I go to a dealership or a shop like Inland, which is Interstate, you said?
Yeah, Interstate Power System. Well, it's still under dealership,
Yeah. Or to.
But those guys
shop.
like Inland, they do some Cummins, they do some Detroit as well.
Yeah, because what happens with small shops that will tell you, we'll overhaul the engine for you.
Well, not everything's gonna get
cut corners.
Yeah, cut corners. Yeah,
right.
Not everything's gonna get checked properly.
And that's where you should just be aware of, like, how can you prevent. I'm a customer. How can I prevent? From making sure that they're not cutting corners, or obviously reputation is one thing.
Actually, I was at a previous shop that I was at. I was doing an overhaul, and I noticed that the head gasket failed. And I checked the liner height, and I told him, I'm like, dude, this needs counterbores. He's like, what do you mean counterbores?
Mm-hmm.
The boss, what do you mean counterbores? We never heard of such thing. That I'm like, dude,
they never did that?
No, seriously.
Wow.
And I told him, you need to do the counterboards on the engine, or else the head gasket's gonna blow. And then ever since then, every engine that I was doing, every other one, counterboards. And the guy was like, well, can you just do an overhaul without doing the counterboards? Do you have to do counterboard an engine? I'm like, dude, do you want quality
done
work?
Right. Yeah, but see, that's why every shop is different, and it's based on their boss. And if you just looking for a quick buck, then that's the answer.
Yeah, he was like, can't you just do a quick, simple overhaul without doing counterboards? Because obviously, counterboard, if the guys are booked, you got to wait a couple of days till he's freed up, swing by, and then we can continue on the engine.
Yeah. And then you have shops that care about the quality of work and stand behind their work, and so you're gonna have both.
And the funny thing is that I actually did a head gasket on one of the boss's fuck-ups. He overhauled that engine like a year before I started there.
Mm-hmm.
Head gasket blew. I removed it. Sure enough, there was a drop liner. And I told him, like, dude, liner drop.
Yeah. Did he pay for that, or?
Yeah. It was under warranty. It was under warranty, so he had to eat it.
Yeah. So good.
That's why it's very important. Check the liner height. I mean, like we mentioned before, there's got to be a reason why the head gasket blew.
So let's do questions. I'm a customer. Let's get some questions for guys. Okay. Do you guys check the liner height? Right. Yeah. That's one of them. What else?
You go ahead and ask me the questions. Like, if you were the customer now.
Okay. Hi,
or
sir.
What's the issue? What's the issue with your truck? Like,
so let's say we establish, because there's multiple
issues.
Let's say we establish, like, okay, are we reusing the head, or what are we doing with the head?
I'm installing a new head, without a doubt.
Okay, so you want definitely a new head, and can you speak to this a little more? Why, when I make some notes?
Yes, I've had bad experiences with machine shops. Sometimes they will pressurize them and they won't see a crack once you install the head. Then you have pressurizing, and then what? I'm going to eat the labor on removing the head and buying a new one.
Mm-hmm. So pretty much giving the warranty, and you don't want to, you want to warranty the work that you did, and that has to be based on a new head. You can, period. You
just correct.
Do it.
I'm going to sleep safe at night. I know there's a new head on the truck, worry free.
Mm-hmm.
The customer's going to be happy. He has a new cylinder head compared to a remanufactured. You never know if they went through all the valves properly or installing. I've seen machine shops put in valve seals sideways. Dude, I've seen so much shit. And
yeah. My next question is, what what are some of the things that are going to be unexpected that I might have to pay for?
Once we open it up, might have a bad camshaft. Some pittings on there, turbo. Crank might
My
be,
turbo was fine when I brought it for the overhaul. Why do I have to replace it now?
There's oil. And if I'm not gonna start up the engine with the oil pushing into the intake, then your engine's gonna run away. I'm not gonna be responsible for that.
Okay. Thank you.
So I'm not gonna avoid that. I'm gonna avoid that warranty.
Thank you for answering that. That's mine. So what else can I expect?
You can expect some gear train wear. Sometimes if previously you had a head replaced and they didn't adjust the gear lash, your gears might be too tight, and you're gonna start seeing some wear on the gears. I've seen that quite a few times on the ISX.
Okay.
Gear lash.
Okay. How long is the overhaul going to take?
Expect 50 to, I would say 60 hours.
That's okay. And will I be provided with information how to
break in? You will be provided with a break-in procedure. We'll give that with your invoice, and as long as also with 1 year warranty, 100,000 miles.
Okay. Great.
Obviously, overheating will void the warranty.
Mm-hmm.
That's for sure. And not doing an overhaul without a new oil pump.
Obviously, with that, you would have to also address oil pump, water pump.
Yeah.
Things that, if they're not gonna work properly, then you're,
let's simple example. We did that 12.7. Remember the
Mm-hmm.
41.
Mm-hmm.
We did the overhaul, and then the water pump failed 2 weeks later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and what about the Mercedes overhaul? I mean, wasn't that oil cooler?
Oh yeah. So we did the overhaul. We were running the engine, and then we were flushing the engine out, and then oil came out. So oil cooler failed.
Yeah. So.
And that's, the customer's gonna be like, well, the oil cooler was fine before the overhaul.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard to explain, but shit happens.
Things will still fail. It's still an old truck with older components, right?
Even new components will fail.
Yeah.
I've seen.
We've had that plenty of times.
Yeah, brand new injectors will fail too.
Yeah.
A buddy of mine installed a cylinder head a week ago, brand new head from Detroit, and it failed. And they give him a new head.
We can talk about it for hours. I had Volvo injectors fail, new ones swap, Detroit ones. It's inevitable. It's just, you just have to accept it. And that's why I'm such a big fan of D12s. Because very little issues.
All we do is overheads on them. We haven't really, since I started, I've only changed one injector out. That's it, dude.
I don't remember one
injector, and then Tom did that injector harness.
Yeah, which you have to. That's one of the issues with the D12s is they do have a lot of harness issues.
Yeah.
Not only that they're old trucks, but they also where we live, it's just rotting out. But, overhaul. I think. Did we cover everything on your notes?
I mean, also, is it worth doing an overhaul? I mean, if your truck is paid off, do you really want to go buy another truck and get into a truck note?
Yeah.
And you're going to buy the truck. You don't really know the engine, gear train, transmission, power dividers. You don't know how it's been driven.
How is the overall condition of the truck? How much money you put in? You've had it for a while. You've invested in it a lot of money. Those are questions that you have to look at. Is it eaten by rust? Like we had this really good Volvo, and it broke my heart when I was like, this is a parts truck, because literally the rust just ate it, and the cap collapsed.
Engine has low miles, no leaks at all.
Yeah, such a clean engine, and we'll swap it to a different truck. I have some ideas, but at the same time, you have to be aware of what you've put into your truck and what is the rest of the condition of the emissions of everything else, and ultimately, to be honest with you, doing an overhaul, we can touch on that before we finish this. Doing an overhaul on a deleted emissions truck, right? That's something that is difficult for a shop to warranty. Now, how do you warranty that?
Yeah, we've seen some
cases that will.
Back pressure.
But here's the question: like, do we want to do it as a shop, right?
Do we
do I
want
want to do I want to stand behind work of deleted emissions engine that we overhaul, and then the engine eats crap again, and we have to deal with that, and then it's just, if we make that rule right off the bat, we're just not going to overhaul deleted emissions engine, then you really never have to worry about it.
Yeah.
And because you're going to try to help a customer and do the best job you can with the overhaul, and the delete was done bad, or it's been old, and the things happen, and then you blow out the engine again, and it's just, and it's going to turn back and bite you.
It's going to backfire at the mechanic that overhauled it.
Yeah. So as a rule, I think that should be 100% a responsibility of the shop. Do I want to go that route, or am I willing to live as a shop owner? And then now the customer has to know that, right? Because if I come to you as a customer,
right,
and I have deleted emissions, and you tell me, yeah, I'll overhaul it, I have to be aware that that's my risk. I'm not getting warranty.
Yeah, exactly. I'll let you know up front.
Yeah.
There's no warranty on it.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Because it's deleted.
Yeah. And let's leave it at that.
Or anything also with like a higher horsepower rating. Obviously we're gonna put in OEM parts.
Oh, of course.
So,
yeah. Yes. Yeah. True. That's definitely part of it. But I think we've covered a lot. If we miss anything, let us know. Leave comments.
Or any other questions.
Yeah. We're all more than willing to answer any of the questions in Shoot Podcast, and give you more info on anything we can. But for now, thank you for watching. Subscribe, share, and we'll talk to you soon.